Welcome to Wrestling Over Everything, everybody. We are a very funny wrestling podcast out of Central Valley of California. I'm Andrew. That's Dusty.
Hey.
Subscribe to the show. Hey, you, the guy who's about to click out of this. Just subscribe to the show, please.
Yeah, I don't even necessarily care if you listen to it after this. Just subscribe to it. We just need the numbers.
We need the numbers, okay?
Yeah.
Please. But we're also very cool and fun. You know, we enjoy ourselves, and Dusty knows a lot about wrestling, and I pretend to know a lot about a lot of things. So, we also have like Instagram and Twitter and all that thing. Most important thing, subscribe to the goddamn. Thank you.
There's a bell.
How you doing, Dusty?
Hit that. I'm doing well. Very exciting news for me. Got the cat blanket that I've been wanting. So
yeah, so Dusty ordered a blanket that had his cat on it, and then he received a blanket with a dead guy on it that was like always in our hearts, watching over us forever.
Yeah, forever watching over us. Hilarious, because that means that someone else got a picture of my big fat cat on their blanket.
What are you doing with the in memoriam blanket?
Well, that's a big problem because I couldn't figure out what to do, because I don't want to sleep with this blanket that has this man's like giant face on it, right? Because that's weird. Because
drape it over the couch. It's a conversation piece.
Yeah. So I was like, what do we do? It seems disrespectful to like throw it out, obviously. Because we
obviously, bro. It's a blanket, dog.
Well, I don't know. It's, it means something to somebody.
I've got Milton Berle's joke book right here. I'll throw that shit in the traffic.
Yeah.
What I mean? Got to picture him on it. He's been dead for a long time. He means a lot more to me than this fucking guy means to you.
Yeah. But because we contacted the seller and we were like, hey, you sent us the wrong thing. And they were like, oh, yeah, we'll give you a refund. And we're like, great. Do you want us to send back the blanket? And they were like, no. So
they're like, listen, dog, that cost us 40 cents to make.
Yeah.
I'm not going to restock it.
Yeah. What are we going to do? Send it to the right people? Once it's out of our warehouse, it's gone. So it has ironically become a cat blanket. We put it in a nice little thing so the cats can lay on it if they feel so inclined.
Life comes full circle. We should try to reverse image search that picture and see if I can find out who that guy is.
Yeah. And then, well, just the funniest part to me, it's funny and it's sad, because clearly this person meant something to someone enough that they wanted to get a blanket of them to remember them by, right? So they're waiting for this blanket to arrive, and when they open it, it's just a giant picture of my cat's face. And like,
what if these are like super, like they believe in reincarnation and stuff, and there's been a cat around that looks like your cat? This would be the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It looks like your cat, and they're like, you know what? I think that's Tommy, bro. Like, he watches when I watch Will and Grace, he sits here and watches Will and Grace. He loved Will and Grace, like all that shit. And then they get a blanket with that on it.
Oh, see, I was thinking it was reversed. They get the blanket, and then they see it as a sign that cat is Tommy.
So they got to find that cat.
Yeah, they got to find that cat. But
we should make a Facebook profile for your cat, find them, and then message them and be like, hey, could you guys, I feel like you guys probably got my blanket, and
that's
ordered that for me.
It'd be funny if they used it as a regular blanket, then everything's flip-flopped. That's a cat blanket that's being used by people whose cat it's not, and our blanket that's not of a guy we know is being used as a cat blanket. So I really just hope that they think my cat is cute. Is the end story of this,
I mean, it is a cute cat. I've yet to see a not cute cat. Like, even the ugly, like haggard, like Harry Dean Stanton looking ass cats are cute.
So then my wife, who was ordering the blanket for me, went to a different reseller of blankets, ordered a new blanket. That blanket's arrived. It's as hilarious to me as I had hoped. Every time I see it, I laugh.
You went to a more reputable Facebook guy.
Yeah. It just makes me laugh every single time. And then, of course, the cat lays on the cat blanket, and then that's the art and the artist together.
Have you seen the cat like looking at it weird? Like, what the fuck is that?
One of the other cats looked like it was trying to climb onto the bed and saw the picture of the giant cat's face and like slowly backed away from it.
Yeah.
You know, and I like to attribute that to them being like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know, they
My cat
mostly
is
tell stuff
currently
by they mostly tell stuff by smell. It seems like so.
just rub your cat all over that blanket, you know.
Yeah. Oh, she loves it, dude. That's her blanket. It's
Oh man,
terrific.
if I have you wore the socks with my face on them yet?
When did it? Yes, I did,
All right, I appreciate
but I
that.
don't remember where. That was every time that I get them out of the wash, it makes me chuckle again. So
I just need to know that you wore them. I appreciate
yeah,
it. So we're gonna do the same track as 2 episodes ago. We're gonna go wrestler bios. Do you have a bio?
I do have a bio.
I do as well. And then we're gonna do some this day happening now in wrestling, whatever we call news and notes.
Yep.
And then we watched Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker for WrestleMania 26. Hot
That's
damn.
right. Streak versus career.
Streak versus career. It
Yeah.
doesn't roll off the tongue. When
No.
they do thing versus thing stipulation, it never rolls off the tongue very well. Streak versus career, egregious. It's like a speed bump of a phrase, but
It's pretty clunky, yeah.
right in the dick. But it you know, that's what it was. It was streak versus career.
Yeah, if nothing else, they were factual, you know.
That is true. So for bios, do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first this time. I think you went first last time.
Okay.
I want to tell you, Andrew, about a man named Ox Baker.
Hell yeah, I already like him.
The meanest man who ever lived.
Really?
That was his billing.
Okay.
The meanest man who ever lived.
I like that. I like that billing.
He's from Missouri. He was born in 1934. Okay. He wrestled as Doug Baker, Ox Baker, the Ox, the Arkansas Ox.
Is his real name Doug?
His real name is Doug.
Meanest man who ever lived is not a guy named Doug from Missouri, but
yeah.
Yeah.
And he debuted in 1964. Okay. He is known for his distinctive eyebrows and the heart punch.
Hell yeah, dude! The heart punch.
Yep.
Was this the beginning of the heart punch? The genesis?
No. Turns out the heart punch had been popularized by Stan the Man Stasiak, who you'll remember we used to see his son Sean Stasiak occasionally. So Stan's
Oxbaker, very Anton LaVey ass looking motherfucker.
Yeah. So Oxbaker was doing the heart punch, and then Stan Stasiak was mad at him about this. And so Oxbaker turned it to the hurt punch, which fuck Stan Stasiak. He shouldn't have to change it. It's the heart punch.
The hurt punch.
The hurt punch.
I hurt yourself today. He just got ox on his pants too. I like it.
Yeah. The heart punch, one of the funnier wrestling moves, because you just punch the dude in the chest, and then he just goes like, and like falls over like an old time villain.
If I was an announcer nowadays and there was a heart punch that happened in a match, you know what I'd say?
What's that?
Shout out to DeMar Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin. You could rename it. Yeah. So he used to. He was very well known for his ability to cut promos, and he was famous for wearing T-shirts with catchphrases on them. So it was like "I hurt people" was one of his catchphrases, and then he had one that said "The Great Heart Puncher," which is very funny to me.
Oh, I've got the Great Heart Puncher right here.
Yeah,
the Great Heart Puncher. We really should buy this shirt.
Yeah, if they sell this shirt, I need to get it. But that's like, yeah, he looks like he practices satanic rituals for sure, and supposedly one of the nicest men in wrestling.
He looks like the meanest guy in Oz.
Like he's the guy that the Munchkins tell their kids about at night. You know,
Yeah.
like everybody's got. There's the Krampus and the La Llorona. You know, each group has their boogeyman.
Dude,
and
I hesitate to even say this on the air because I feel like I need to use this. He should have gone by the Bastard of Oz.
That's what you should get put on the t-shirt. That's
Yeah,
very
the
funny.
Bastard of Oz. We're off to see the Bastard.
So he wrestled in the WWWF, which is the WWF back when they were called the Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
It's too many W's.
Yeah, he wrestled for Stampede Wrestling, which was Bret the Hitman Hart's dad's promotion. He wrestled in Puerto Rico for the World Wrestling Council. He wrestled for the AWA, which was a famous territory in the up in like Chicago and Minnesota and sort of that area. And then he wrestled for the ICW, which was the we're gonna get to it.
Big, mean, and ugly. The shirt.
Ox Baker was on The Price is Right. Don't think that I don't know that he was.
I think I loved Ox Baker.
The ICW was Macho Man Randy Savage's dad's outlaw promotion that ran in Memphis. In opposition
what was
to
his dad's name? No.
Angelo Poffo.
Angelo. Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
got that one.
So, two things about Ox Baker that just kind of sum up wrestling, right? So Ox Baker was in a tag team match with his partner, The Claw. They were wrestling for the AWA Midwest Tag Team titles against Cowboy Bob Ellis and Alberto Torres. Now, shortly after this match, Alberto Torres died of what was determined to be heart disease, but they worked it into an angle that Ox Baker's heart punch killed Alberto Torres.
He died from delayed onset heart punch.
Yeah. And then in August of 1972, Ox Baker lost a match to Ray Gunkel. Following the match, Ray Gunkel also died. You want to go ahead and guess what they attributed Ray Gunkel's death to?
So he killed two guys with the heart punch. See, Vince would have been like, I didn't say that he died from a heart punch, but he got punched in the heart. His heart died.
I'm saying that if you put up a string and you connect these two events,
ipso facto,
one could, in theory, determine that the heart punch killed a guy. They used to make Ox Baker a more despicable heel. They used the real death of two men, being like, no. Ox Baker punched them so hard in the heart, their heart exploded.
Listen, dude, if those two men were real workers,
if
they were real backstage part of the boys, they have no problem with that. Dusty, I hope you turn my death into a wrestling angle. You're not even a wrestler.
Yeah, I'll turn it into a bit for sure.
I punch shit right in the
stomach. So, in 1974, Ox Baker caused a riot in Cleveland, Ohio.
Suicide punch. Made you commit suicide.
I've been working on the 5-fingered suicide punch from Kill Bill.
There's a riot where?
In Cleveland, Ohio. So
Cleveland, Ohio.
Ox Baker was wrestling the Big Cat, Ernie Ladd, and he gave him 3 heart punches after the match was over, and this caused the fans to become riotous. How dare you use the heart punch? They should have outlawed the heart punch. Because in Memphis they outlawed the Pallor Driver, and then that made it a great move to do to people to get heat.
Because you're crossing the line at that point,
right? They should have outlawed the heart punch based on the fact that it, in theory, killed these 2 other guys. Yeah. So when he busted out, they become. But what's really funny is Ernie Ladd is on his back and he's selling, and Ox Baker's beating him up. And Ernie Ladd's like, he keeps saying to Ox Baker, the natives are getting restless. And Ox Baker goes, just a little more heat. And then they start throwing shit in the ring. And Ernie Ladd goes, natives are getting really restless. And Ox Baker goes, just a little more heat. And then a guy got in the ring and tried to attack him. And he's like, for real, now's the time. And Ox Baker just goes, a little more heat. And Ox Baker's a big motherfucker, so he's not afraid of some people. Yeah. So he, quote, they chased me upstairs with knives. They were going to cut me. And when Baker opened the door to the upstairs, he found fellow wrestler Gypsy Joe, who has his own sordid history. that we
I
can
love
get
the
into
name.
another time, with a lady friend up in this room. And so he gave Ox Baker his knife to fend off the fans that were trying to kill Ox Baker.
He's like, dude, there's a knife in my pants. They're on the floor.
Yeah, what are you doing? Get out of here.
Get the knife and get out of here, you fucking weird eyebrowed bastard.
In his promo following this riot that he caused, he's looking at the footage and he goes, I gave him a heart punch from my grandmother and my mother and my brother and even one from me too.
This was for my grandma. He's like, what? I didn't even do anything to your grandma. I've never even met your grandma.
Yeah. So he was famous for his promos. One of his first promos, they asked him why he used the bear hug as his finisher. This was before he adopted the heart punch, and he said he got the idea after going to the movies and watching a snake, quote, squeeze the snot out of all the other animals and the people in the jungle. This was apparently in the 70s. You couldn't say that because he got reprimanded for going on TV and saying that. And
For
then
saying
for
what part of it?
I guess that
The people in the jungle?
maybe snot. I don't know. It just says that he was
probably called those people in that jungle something horrible. You know what I mean?
That is not in the quote. You know, much like the heart punch, you can surmise for yourself. So
Views expressed by Andrew Idell are not necessarily those of Dustin
yep.
Godwin.
The following week, Ox Baker went back on TV and he had all of his stuff in a rubber bag. And the interviewer asked him why he had a rubber bag, and he said, I've only got $5 a night. I can't afford a wrestling bag, but I have this rubber one. And so then the fans sent a whole bunch of suitcases to the television studio for Ox Baker.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and so he said that they were selling suitcases out of the office for like 7 or 8 weeks. So that's like, he's just a big wrestling personality. He also, once he retired, he started the Ox Baker Wrestling School, which trained The Undertaker, Brian Clark, who you might remember from Chronic, and Ox.
I can't wait till we revisit fucking Chronic.
Yeah, and Ox Baker Jr. He was in movies. He fought Kurt Russell in Escape from New York, and he was in the Big Brawl, the Jackie Chan movie. And then in 2005, they made a documentary about his career called "I Loved the People I Hurt: The Life and Legend of the Mighty Ox Baker."
That's freaking sick. Ox Baker's a sweet name.
Yeah, there's a Mountain Goat song about him. We're fans of the Mountain Goats on this podcast.
Oh yeah.
It's called Ox Baker Triumphant. He published a cookbook in 2011 that's out of print, unfortunately, on Amazon. I was going to definitely buy Ox Baker's cookbook.
It's just all chili beans. Like
yeah,
501 ways to make chili beans.
The recipes are pretty hearty from what I read of the book.
Oh yeah,
they're like stuffed lamb chops and shit like that.
Jesus Christ.
But and then he appeared in 1981 on The Price is Right. You can watch it on YouTube. It's like 6 minutes long, and Ox Baker gets on he wins the first bet, which was for a wall clock. So and so he gets to play one of the games. I don't understand the point of the game that he was playing, but that's neither here nor there. He ended up winning the game. So his prizes for The Price is Right, he won a wall clock, a cast iron fireplace, a stereo, a gas range, which was self-cleaning. It had an auto digital clock and an autopilot light, which was pretty sick for 1981, and a wicker desk and chair. That's probably all the furniture Ox Baker ever had.
He made out like a bandit.
Yeah.
And then,
he loses
at the end of the show, he was like, make sure to have all your pets heart punched.
Yeah, heart punched and neutered. And then he lost at the big wheel, unfortunately.
He probably broke that wheel. He's a big
did not body slam Bob Barker. So
God, he would turn Bob into dust.
And unfortunately, Ox Baker is no longer with us. He passed away. But a true legend and like just a hilarious idea for a person, like uh
Yeah, I
and
like Hawkbreaker.
and just like, man, wrestling's full of charlatans. They're like, oh man, my coworker died. But to make my job better, I'm gonna go ahead and take credit for his death. And
Listen, that's as wrestling could be, man.
yeah, it's a bunch of carnies, man.
I like that. You brought a good one. I appreciate that. I am gonna go a little further back in time.
Okay.
This is my guy. You probably know who this guy. Like you've probably heard of this man before, because I believe him to be famous.
Okay.
He at least was famous in the 1920s. His name is Stanislaus Sbyszko.
Is he related to Larry Zabisco?
No, Larry calls himself Larry Sbyszko because of Stanislaus.
Okay. I have heard of Stanislaus Sbyszko, yes.
Yeah, Stanislaus Sbyszko. He was a Polishman. He was a Polak, as they
Okay.
say. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know if
I've heard a lot of jokes. None that I'll repeat here, but
yeah,
I hope
I think he could probably screw in a light bulb, but the jury's still out. You know.
Yeah.
He's 5'8". He was he defeated a grappler at a circus. And then it was like, I think I'll become a wrestler, and then that just became his thing the rest of his life. That I hate the 20s, like, or I love the 20s. You could just walk outside, and then like a lifelong fun job just lands on your forehead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, worst jobs in the world all over the place. I get it. You know, coal miners, chimney sweeps. That shit is all over the place. I saw Mary Poppins, but
that reminds me of the ZZ Top documentary where they're just like, oh yeah, we played with everybody that came through Texas because we were like the only other band.
Yeah.
So it's like we opened for Jimi Hendrix as like our third gig or whatever,
Yeah,
same like thing. I will become a wrestler.
I'm just gonna become a wrestler. So he was inspired by strongman George Hackenschmidt. So he decided to get all fucking big boy. By 1903, which wasn't very long afterwards, he's 23 at this time. He was one of the leading heavyweight grapplers in Europe. So he did, like a lot of people back in the day, it was like sometimes shooty, sometimes worky. Most of the time when they were making money, it was big works, like that type of stuff, you know? He had like back in the day, as always, long ass matches for big ones, like 2-hour long draws, which would drive me nuts. I would be so mad.
I remember reading that the thing they used to do, because the concessions could sell more stuff the longer everybody was in the arena, right? So they'd like draw out all of the things. So it's like they'd be in a collar and elbow tie up forever. And then finally somebody would like get an arm bar and the people would be like, holy shit, an arm bar.
We truly are celebrating a group of like con artists. And he at one point he wrestled Turkey's quote champion of the Bosphorus, which is apparently like a body of water in Turkey or something like that. Somebody named Kara Solomon.
I thought you were going to say Poseidon.
They might as well have. Turkey, the champion of Bosphorus is a pretty daunting name. He wrestled the champion of Bosphorus at the London Pavilion and the Gibbons Music Halls, and a major controversy arose when it was revealed that Solomon was actually Bulgaria's Ivan Oftarov.
Oh no!
Yeah,
that guy never beat Poseidon.
No, he's a fucking fake and phony. He's probably never even been to Bosphorus. And he was employed by Sbyszko and one of his promoters, this guy Cochran.
Hell yeah, dude.
It was one of the earliest public revelations of wrestling's theatrical hoaxes.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's the old carny bullshit about there's a guy in the ring challenging all the town folk, and then a guy gets in there and nearly beats him, and then it turns out that guy who stepped up as the local townsfolk works for the circus also. Yeah.
It's Andy Kaufman's guy. What was Andy Kaufman's guy's name? It popped into my head and left. The guy with the mustache that was always in on all of Andy Kaufman's.
Oh, the guy that would heckle him on purpose.
Oh man. I'm looking it up. I'm sorry, everybody.
No,
I
that's
really
so.
should know this, and it's really driving me nuts that I can't remember what his name was.
To anybody that doesn't know, Andy Kaufman used to have his friend. Go ahead.
Bob Zmuda.
Yeah, Bob
Bob
Smuda.
Zmuda. So like anytime like there would be people like Andy Kaufman would pull him out of the audience and slap him across the face or throw water in his face, or like he was in on a lot of Andy Kaufman's wrestling works. He just had like an audience plant that was just his buddy that ended up being Tony Clifton. And like every once in a while still does Tony Clifton, I think. But
Yeah.
anyway, so he wrestled India's like great guy, the
Yeah.
Great Gama,
Okay.
to a 3-hour draw in 1910. Oh god damn it!
Jesus.
I would have been so mad, dude.
Dude, you would have been so hyped if you were in 1910.
Oh man,
The
it's Zabisco versus the Great Gama.
what's
Sign me up.
well, what else is there to do? Like 3 hours, they
Die.
didn't. Yeah, die a slow death. Look at a
Yeah.
tree. Just
Yeah.
look.
Zabisco versus Gama to a 3-hour draw or mercury poisoning.
Yeah. Imagine another city, but you can't go there. Just think about a different city.
Just a big flying apparatus.
Yeah.
They eventually
I hope
rematched.
someday there's a box with moving pictures in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn it, that'd be fucking cool, man. We get to see the Iron Man, whatever that's eventually gonna be.
Yeah. I hear a lot about this Iron Man.
I hope he doesn't start at the beginning of the end of cinema in about 100 years.
Yeah.
They eventually rematched in 1928, and Gama won in 42 seconds. So
Hell
I
yeah,
realized a lot of his matches were either like 3 days long or like he lost in 6 seconds one time. But he was like, go ahead.
I wonder, did it give any reason I wonder what the reason why would be.
Why what?
Like, why he would lose so quickly.
I don't know. Maybe just to put people over like crazy. Like Frank Gotch beat him for the title in 6 seconds. And Frank Gotch was like a big guy back in the day.
Well, Frank
so
Gotch was Frank Gotch was like a legit shooter though. So Frank Gotch could have, put him in a pretzel if he wanted to.
That's another thing is like I'm wondering if the 42-second one was a shoot, but apparently this Zabisco character was a really good, like amazing, like legitimate grappler aside from being Walter White's brother-in-law. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I can't remember what that guy's name was.
Hank.
One of no, but his real name, his shoot name. He accidentally tweeted
Dean Norris. That's
Dean Norris. He
Yeah.
tweeted just sex gifs one time, and he's trying to search sex gifs, and he tweeted it.
Oh no!
Very funny.
Yeah.
So this is the reason why I wanted to bring up Mr. Zabisco, except for, aside from like all the crazy 1920s stuff. Around 1920, he was recruited by the Gold Dust Trio of wrestlers.
Hell yeah!
I think it was from California, but I can't remember. It was definitely from the United States.
Gold Rush
probably
would
wasn't
make
from
sense
California. Well, it's 1920, so it was way before the Gold Rush. So it's probably somewhere else, and I'm just thinking California because of the gold. Oh, it's the Gold Dust Trio. Shit, I'm an asshole. But
well, the Gold Rush is in the 1850s, so I think you would have been right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I was thinking 1950s, like goddamn fucking Willie Mays was in the Gold Rush or some shit. So in 1920, recruited by the Gold Dust Trio of Stretcher Lewis, Billy Sandow, and Toots Montt.
Yeah.
They had him beat Stretcher for the title in 1921 because Stretcher Lewis was like the big guy from. That's actually how I started doing this research, was looking up Stretcher Lewis, and then I found this guy. Billy Sandow. I don't know if Billy Sandow. I don't know if Damien Sandow. Isn't that a thing?
Damien Sandow was a guy for a while.
I wonder if that's a stolen name. And I know I've heard of Toots Montt. I got to look up that person. But anyway, they had him beat Stretcher for the title. But he didn't end up drawing. Like nobody went and bought tickets to see Stanislaus Sbyszko. So he dropped the title back to Stretcher Lewis a year later, 1922. There's this guy named Joe Stetcher who was like Lewis's big rival in wrestling, and he was in the Gold Dust group, and they had like a business disagreement, so he left the Gold Dust group and started his own wrestling company. So the Goldust Trio starts promoting this guy named Wayne Munn, who was a football player back in the day. He's like a really good college football player. I don't know if he played pro, but he's like apparently like super charismatic. So they made him their champion for the Goldust Trio, which is like, I think it was like one of the like big recognized championship belts. I think it was like the belt
Okay.
at the time.
Yeah, Ed Strangler Lewis had he was at one time the NWA champion. So I don't know if this belt that they had was the NWA championship or not.
Yeah, I
But
can't remember. I think it was whatever was NWA around at that time?
yeah, it was a lot more disconnected. So there was
Or was
still
it
a
just called
championship.
it was just the World Heavyweight Championship though, wasn't it? Is that what it was called?
I maybe I don't know exactly. I've been kind of looking to see who the yeah, it says that the dominant world heavyweight champion was Ed Strangler Lewis. I don't know about the lineage of the belt.
Okay. So it was, I know it was like a big belt at
But
the
he was
time.
the big, yeah, he was like the champion.
So he dropped it to Zabisco, who eventually it ended up being Wayne Munn that was the champion. But Stetcher had left the place and started his own organization. So Stanislaus Sbyszko, was supposed to wrestle Wayne Munn for the title to put Wayne Munn even further over in a title defense against like this badass guy Zabisco, to like further legitimize Munn as a
Yeah,
credible wrestler.
22
And
seconds.
so Stetcher and their company, actually his brother Tony Stetcher, approaches Zabisco and is like, "Hey, I'm gonna give you some money here, and you're gonna shoot on this guy."
Oh,
And
shit.
so they said Zabisco agrees, takes the money, shoots on Munn, just completely dominates him and big brothers him the whole time, pins him a bunch of times, just keeps pinning him, and just
to
buries
destroy
him.
this dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and the referee was forced to award the title to Stanislaus Sbyszko at 47 years old. And it would be so at that point, let me see. This was they see this as like the last time that the World Heavyweight Championship, or at least one of the last times, it might be the last time, was decided in like a real bout, because that guy was actually trying. He was actually fucking him up, you know?
Right.
But it would be decades before promoters would ever feel comfortable putting their title on a non-wrestler again, because of the chance that the other guy might just shoot and take the title from him.
Yeah, that used to be a big like hesitancy. Was like Luthez and those guys, like you had to be able to work in case somebody tried to shoot on you. So it was like, it can't be as cartoony, because either my history might be wrong, but I think I'm remembering after this thing with Zabisco happened, that might be when the NWA kind of came together, and they were like, "Look, man,
we got to figure this shit out.
we can't have guys deciding that they're going to go into business for themselves, because it affects all of us. And then who's going to stop? What if I want the guy to be my champion? So like, I remember when they would talk about like when Harley Race was the champion, because he wasn't like a pure wrestler or shooter or whatever. It was like they were a little bit worried, and he had to like prove himself as a guy who could, both be entertaining, but also if the shit went down, actually defend himself and defend the belt.
Yeah, and that's what it says on here. It's like in the wiki, it's like this is kind of like it opened the door for Luthez to just be the champion for so long, or to be around so much. It's because Luthez was actually a real tough guy.
Yeah, like nobody's taking the belt off of Luthez unless he's okay with it.
Yeah.
It was sort of the thought back then. And then, that was also a thing, like whenever Hogan became champion, there was the Iron Sheik said that he was given the opportunity to shoot on Hogan. They were like, I think it was Vern Gagne, the owner of the AWA, was like, if you break Hogan's leg, we'll give you X amount of dollars, because Hogan can't, he was a entertainer. So, and Iron Sheik was a legit amateur wrestler, and
Yeah.
it was like even up until that point, and this is like the mid '80s, it was like you could have a real shooter, actually take the belt if he wanted to.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing. So, yeah, that's Stanislaus Sbyszko. He eventually trained Johnny Valentine and Harley Race and died in 1967 at 88 years old.
That's probably why Harley Race is so goddamn tough.
I know, dude. Apparently Stanislaus Sbyszko was a real tough bastard. He ended up being in the National Polish American Sports Hall of Fame. He was ranked 95 out of 100 wrestlers from Dave Meltzer's top 100 wrestlers of all time in 2002.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. Like, you were saying, like, he sort of bridges a gap of like these long, like how it evolved. Because the Gold Rush trio, from what I'm seeing on Wikipedia, like they kind of modernized the style
Yeah.
of pro wrestling to be more entertaining, instead of these long draws, where nothing's really happening. Like they were about doing moves and having exciting matches. And so he's like in the beginning of what sort of becomes the pro wrestling we know, and as part of the old pro wrestling, even in the carnivals and all that shit, and the shooters, the legit champions, like it's cool that he was able to bridge all of that different stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm completely fascinated with when this leaves the circus, and when it's in the circus. Like,
yeah,
that I love the stories from all that stuff. That's kind of why I wanted to do the bio thing in general. And it says on the wiki that he was often dissatisfied with the industry's evolution into a form of showmanship. And it's like, dog, you were working matches. You literally made up what is this? The champion of the Bosphorus, you bastard, So
yeah. I mean, it's probably like, I forget the story, but I think it was Luthez. Nowadays everybody talks about how everybody's doing too much, and it doesn't look like a real fight, and everything's too acrobatic and all that.
yeah,
And like, but Luthez thought that about Harley Race. And you go
yeah.
back and watch Harley Race's matches, and his high spot's like a giant knee or like a headbutt off the second rope, and it's like
He bops you on
kids,
the top of the head. Is his head high
yeah,
spot?
kids are doing too much. It's always the kids are doing too much.
What what
Nobody's
what
making nobody's making up champions of the lake like they used to.
what's your high spot? Have you ever heard Little Bunny Foo Foo?
Are you familiar with the parable of Little Bunny Foo Foo?
Because I
Uh,
just bop him on the head like a field mouse. God damn it!
that reminds me really quick of like one of my favorite Harley Race stories I've ever heard is like, because he was the NWA champion, so he had to go into all these different territories and wrestle their best guy,
Yeah,
and he doesn't necessarily have time to know any of this guy's spots. They used to call everything in the ring for the most part, and they used to keep kayfabe by having the baby faces and the heels in different locker rooms, so you don't get a lot of chance to talk to guys. But apparently he was there was some guy that was wrestling Harley Race, or was going to, and they were talking about the match, and he's like, the guy is like, what do you want to do out there, Mr. Race? And he's like, well, call it in the ring. And he goes, he says something, and Harley Race goes, what's your finish, kid? And the kid explains it to him, and he just goes, all right, I'll move. And that's it. That's the entirety of the match that they planned out.
you try that Mickey Mouse shit on me. I'll
Yeah.
move. You're facing the doo doo. I hit you with my shit, bop you on the head like a field mouse, and
Yeah.
then we all go home.
Which one of us is the NWA champion? It
Which
doesn't
one
have
of
to
us is
be.
leaving the
Yeah.
NWA champion?
It doesn't have to be that complicated. You go for whatever thing you do, I'll move.
Yeah.
That's it, well, we'll have to get to Harley Race on this thing, because the Harley Race stories are crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have somebody that I want to look into next. Their Wikipedia is short, but their name, I don't want to give it away, but their
Right.
name intrigued me. So if they're not good enough, I'll go to somebody else and I'll tell you who it was.
Yeah.
But I'm going to look into this guy next.
I just wanted to do some quick news and notes, some minor housekeeping. There was a WWE Premium Live event this last weekend. As we're talking, there's Backlash 2025. Andrew's
Yeah,
Andrew's excitement is well known.
Yeah, couldn't wait for Backlash.
I watched this show. I mean, the big thing is they're doing John Cena versus Randy Orton for the last time, and they're trying to tell me how big and important this match is for the last
Orton
time.
might win.
Right, they're really trying to sell me on the idea that Randy
fuck
Orton
up.
that Randy Orton might win this match. So, uh, Andrew texted me and was like, "Is there anything from this show that I need to watch?" And honestly, no, not really. It's fine, you know. Jacob Fatu retained his U.S. title in a 4-way match. Drew McIntyre bashed the back of his head on the concrete floor during a table spot with Damian Priest. That was pretty fucked up. Yeah, that's then Lia Valkyria beat Becky Lynch in a match that was better than I thought that it would be. Dominic Mysterio beat Penta for the to retain his Intercontinental title. Glad Dominic's still the champion. I don't like that Penta seems to be eating some pinfalls. Like he's new, he's cool. You shouldn't he shouldn't win the IC title here, but maybe have a different opponent for Dominic to beat because he didn't get beat entirely clean, but he's still eating that pinfall.
Was it Penta that lost to what is
No, that was Ray Phoenix who lost to El Grande Americana. Yeah. But Gunther defeated Pat McAfee. This was it was pretty fun. You know, like they did what they should have done, which is Gunther mostly kicked the shit out of Pat McAfee, who's former pro athlete, so he's got a little bit of juice, but Gunther's the best wrestler in the world. So in this particular situation, he should never really look in peril. And then wouldn't you know who won the pony? John Cena defeated Randy Orton with a ball shot and a title belt to the head, much like what happened at WrestleMania with Cody Rhodes.
He's got a third of the moves of Kevin Nash. He's got 2 moves now.
Yep.
His attitude adjustment turns out not good enough to finish anybody. So he has to use against 45-year-old goddamn Randy Orton. He has to. Did Orton hit the RKO?
He did, out of the attitude adjustment, which is a pretty cool looking counter. Like he's got him up on the shoulders, and when he goes to flip him, Orton grabs
the
him.
head.
Yeah. So that's I don't know that they ever achieved the rule for me for these kind of matches, which is there's got to be one near fall where you think Randy Orton might win this match. There's no way that they turn John Cena heel, have him beat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, and then he loses it 2 weeks later to Randy Orton, of all people. So
it'd be very funny. And then this is just Orton's farewell tour.
Yeah. And then after the show, John Cena.
Hey, what the fuck was this?
Oh, because R-Truth came out to defend John Cena from Randy Orton during the match. Because in kayfabe, and not probably in real life, but in kayfabe, R-Truth says that John Cena is his role model. And he loves John Cena. And it's supposed to be funny because R-Truth is older than John Cena.
Yeah.
And R-Truth's also crazy.
He's a goofy guy. It's funny.
Yeah, and I think R-Truth is very secured in his place in WWE. I think he's a talented guy. I think he is funny. Like, he's wrestling funny most of the time.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And so after the show, during the press conference, R-Truth came out to congratulate John Cena, and John Cena AA'd him through the press table. That was the big closing angle. So there are some rumors going around. Oh, go ahead.
They're not setting them up.
No, they're having a match.
Not at a pay-per-view.
I think possibly.
R-Truth and John Cena.
So theory that I saw was, wouldn't it be funny? Because right now the oldest WWF champion of all time is Vince McMahon. And to get him off of the book as the oldest champion of all time, what if R-Truth defeated John Cena and then through a fluke, and then Cena wins the belt back like a week later. The reason that I love this, don't make that face.
I'm making the face is made, Dusty.
No, here's the thing.
Face is made. I don't dislike R-Truth, but what are we doing?
The reason to do that is that it shakes up this idea that Cena's not going to lose for a while. It upends expectation. Now I'm talking about like when they put the like not at the same level, but like the reason that you put the belt on R-Truth when nobody thinks so is so the next time there's an underdog, maybe this guy wins, and then Cena wins it back. It doesn't really hurt anybody because R-Truth, and then R-Truth gets to be the oldest champion of all time, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think they're going to do that, but that's a theory that's kind of floating around.
If the problem is, because I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they should do it. None of that. But if you're going to have this match, you can you just have like they wrestle one time and John Cena like destroys R-Truth and then let's move on to the next person for him to destroy? Not really. So like it just seems like a waste of a thing, because even if R-Truth beats him, like we all know Cena's getting that belt back pretty quickly after. It's not going to be Ron Killing's year-long world champion keeping it to WrestleMania and the Undertaker comes back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So
yeah, the other way to go is to have Cena like viciously beat R-Truth to death,
that's what they should do.
Which is probably more likely
Cena
what they'll
gets
do.
disqualified. Cena like R-Truth gets like a high spot or something, then Cena just goes brutal on R-Truth, like blood and like hitting poles.
To really sell the heel turn, to really get people like uncomfortable. Ron Killings is a guy that you could do that to because everybody loves R-Truth.
Yeah,
he's so I think that could be the better way to go. If they gave the belt to R-Truth, I wouldn't be terribly upset. I'm not wild about this Cena title reign thing anyway, but that's the direction they're going.
I just feel like it's so funny if The Rock's grand masterpiece that he's been talking about includes a rest stop at the R-Truth park. You know what I mean? Like, and then we give it to R-Truth, and then
sorry, what's that last part? You kind of whispered it. No,
we
give it to R-Truth.
The R-Truth, the oldest champion of all time, and then
but then check this out. That's a real Shyamalan moment,
exactly.
But they have Logan Paul challenging for the world title at the next Saturday night's main event that's coming up against Jey Uso.
Hell yeah, dude.
I don't know if Logan Paul is the new Kane.
Paul would be a better champion,
or if
to be honest.
So that leads me to my next point is, we talk a lot in the about the old Vince days of WWE, whenever he was a real in the 80s, whenever he was running against Jim Crockett Promotion, when he was being a real dick to everybody. If anybody doesn't know, the Starrcade, the year that they first got on pay-per-view, is the year that Vince introduced the Survivor Series the same night to fuck with them, and then he gave away the first Royal Rumble for free on TV during the NWA second pay-per-view. And then he threatened all the cable companies that they wouldn't be able to get WrestleMania if they ran the Jim Crockett Promotions pay-per-views. Like, just back and forth, just some real, throughout history, just some real shady. Yeah.
Dude, I've seen that in radio around here. Like our signal started getting bad at one point, and a guy that works with us that's worked in radio for like 40 years is like, I wonder if the other stations are messing with our signal, because he's like, I've heard of people going up to other people's tower sites and just cutting the wires.
Yeah, that's
what the fuck, man.
For what? Oh,
for the world, Dusty.
Yeah,
his wife is the Secretary of Education now.
Yeah, yeah.
It is the dominoes that fall.
Right.
shoves it up fucking Davy Crockett, Jim Crockett's ass. He shoves it up Jim Crockett's ass, and his wife gets to decide if we get free lunches at schools eventually.
Yeah. You never know which way the river's gonna grow. You know,
Yeah.
what stones you remove cause the path of the river. But let it not be said that since Vince is gone, some of the chicanery does not exist, because WWE has announced their next Saturday night's main event to be July 12th, which is the same day as AEW's All In Texas show.
Hell yeah, dude.
And then they're counter programming with another Saturday night's main event set for May 24th, which is Memorial Day weekend, which is normally when AEW runs their All In or their Double or Nothing show. And then WWE just announced Evolution 2 to go the same day as All In Texas as well. So like it's just, so now AEW is announcing their shows later and later, the date and time of their shows, and so that WWE can't run a show in opposition the same day. So
it's very funny.
Let it not be said. And they've also done this before. Like they've run house shows against big AEW events in the same town to draw crowds away from the AEW product. Like, you know, the playbook's still the same. They're up there bending the rabbit ears, you know, no matter who's in charge.
That's just how entertaining that's the business, man. Like
that's the way the business goes.
I was thinking about AEW the other day, and I was like, man, because I shit on AEW a lot. I think a lot of what they do stinks, and I think it's like wrestling for Gen Z weirdos, right? But some of it's good, and it gets like Scotty 2 Hotty is currently. I know he's got some opinions, right? He's in a music video recently.
I don't know if you heard, but you can't cancel all of them.
Yeah, that's tough. I get it, but let's pretend that didn't happen. He's being employed by them right now. Like he is like somebody's. These guys are getting paid, like a lot of them, too much. You know?
Yeah,
like who else is producing for AEW right now?
I don't know who else is producing. I used to know a lot more of the guys, but like
JR is getting paid by AEW.
Yeah, JR, Jimmy Jacobs, you know, a lot of wrestlers, like more places for wrestlers to make a living wage, I'm not opposed to. And like, you know, everybody's sort of fretting about Tony Khan's money. It's not my money. If he wants to overpay guys, like that's on him.
I'd like for Tony Khan to have less money. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he's not in risk of running out of money. You know, I think he'll be fine. But yeah, like another product that gets people. Dean Malenko is getting paid, like, you know, and they put on a different style of wrestling that caters at this point to a smaller group of people. I think that there's definitely been some missteps and things that you can criticize them for, but like they also have really great wrestling sometimes. And again, overall, more places for guys to work and make money is better. Not having a monopoly is good. Like, do they ever get out of being the feeder system for WWE? Like, I don't know. You know, Tony Khan can offer a lot of money, but I don't know if anybody that gets over really big there doesn't want to leave for WWE, because that kind of tends to be what's happening. Is
even Nick Khan recently was like, yeah, we expect anybody who's good to come over to us.
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't.
Going to expire, and then they're going to sign with us, and so I love for them to exist, because we're just going to get all their good guys. Like, and okay, so the internet's telling me that Adam Cole's 5'11". I do not believe that.
No, I don't think Adam Cole is 5'11".
Like, he's billed at 6 foot. The internet says 5'11". He looks like a 5'5" normal looking guy.
Yeah, like, I bet. I was gonna say he's like probably 5'8".
He looks like an M word without the M word face. You know?
Yeah, he
creeps me out.
And for like smaller guys that are not gonna make it, you know, to WWE or had their cup of coffee in WWE and then left, like, I'm glad Roderick Strong is making money. I'm glad that Adam Cole's making money. Like, I just don't know, like, you know, at some point MJF's probably going to leave. because he's a young guy and he's talented and he's like the he's got a decent platform now, but he could be a big star, like a legitimate big star.
The marketing and the machine of WWE, especially now that they're tied in with Ari Emanuel, it's you can't touch it. I don't care how much money Tony Khan and his dad have. It's just it's not gonna match up.
Well,
and that's okay.
They're the Kleenex of wrestling, like there's other facial tissue, but all the facial tissue is called Kleenex. If somebody doesn't know about wrestling, everything's WWE, because
everybody. It's the same thing with UFC. Also, Ari Emanuel, that son of a bitch.
Well, and that's
I don't like. But
that's always been not always, but like since Vince ramped up the machine in the 80s. Like, I remember a Kevin Nash quote. He was talking to Eric Bischoff one time when Bischoff was going to go to WWE. And he goes, whenever you see what we had versus what they have and the fact that we beat them ever, you're going to be amazed. Because, they have top of the line production. They have top of the line people in all the positions that are ancillary positions. Like, they have the best producers. They have the best cameramen. Like, they have the platform to do all of these things. But again, I root for AEW. I root for all the companies that are doing good business where guys can make money and the owners aren't scumbags. But
to be fair, the worst thing that AEW could have done is try to do exactly what WWE is doing. So they need to do something different. But,
right, you want to pivot, but like, Ospreay probably leaves at some point. Like, I don't think Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks ever leave. That's their playground.
As long as it exists.
As long as it exists, yeah. And but speaking of other things, including kind of sketchy wrestling companies, but also just sad news, Sabu passed away on Sunday. I don't know. We watched a little bit of ECW back in the day. I don't know if you have much of a relationship to Sabu.
I mean, the craziest motherfucker that ever lived, maybe. He was never like, what I saw was not, it wasn't like he's a demon. Like, that's why he's scary. It was like, this guy, he's the toughest son of a bitch who ever lived. Every match had to top the last one. He was like, didn't he have like a crazy match with, did he wrestle Rey Mysterio?
He did. We watched that.
And they fucked each other up real bad. Like, Rey almost died.
he tried to DDT Rey Mysterio on a table that was set between the ring and the barricade, and they just missed the table. They hit the table, but it didn't stop Rey's momentum at all. He just spiked headfirst into the floor.
It's just we watched. I haven't seen every Sabu match, but we watched a handful, a good amount, and you know what he is. He's a cult figure. He's a legend. He's a myth almost.
That's actually what I was gonna say. Is like, I don't know. I don't know that it's hyperbolic at all. Like, Sabu has a sort of the last outlaw, or like he's almost mythical if you're a person who grew up at the time whenever he was becoming prominent, because even though Sabu wrestled in all 5 major wrestling promotions in the United States and wrestled in New Japan and wrestled had a decent platform, he was the underground king. Like, I'm trying to think of a band where it's like they never made the mainstream, but everybody heard of them, or like they're kind of dangerous. Like, I got like Rammstein, like Rammstein had the one big hit, or Slipknot before they became super popular, where you're like, the Slipknot shows are dangerous. Those guys are actually crazy. Yeah. Like, he had this mythos about him, because I would read about him, but I could only read about him in magazines, and you'd only see pictures or hear descriptions of the crazy shit that he would do. And then, Paul Heyman and Sabu were a match made in heaven. Like, Heyman knew exactly how to promote Sabu and exactly how to present him as a guy whose gimmick was he didn't talk. So Sabu never gives interviews. So there's like, he would have him come out strapped to a gurney like a mental patient with like a Hannibal Lecter mask on, and he's fighting to get out of this thing, and then they like unleash him. Like, that episode, I just saw a clip of it the other day, like that Game of Thrones where they have the White Walker in the box and they kick it over and it goes crazy and it's on the chain,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
that scene's fucking sick, but that's Sabu. He's like a caged the like crazy person that you unleash.
I guess he was a little more demony than I presented him as, but like I
was
just
just
thought the human Sabu is scary outside of kayfabe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he's psychotic, but it was you'd hear rumor and basically like whispers of all this stuff he would do. And then, he had a barbed wire match with Terry Funk in ECW that was so violent that Paul Heyman didn't release the the video for a long time because he didn't want somebody to try to top it, and so then that match becomes legend, and then eventually it's like, oh, the barbed wire match is coming out on video, but it's like Faces of Death or whatever, like all these things where it's like you heard a guy who knows a guy. Like Sabu's the tape trader king in the 90s. You have to see this match with Cactus Jack. You have to see this match with Sandman. And he was incredibly talented and ahead of his time in all of these different ways. Like there's the WWE released a video of a tryout match that he had in like 1994 where he's doing stuff in the WWF ring that no one is doing at this point. Like you can hear the crowd and also not hear the crowd because they can't believe this what this guy's doing. So just a legend. Like never got the recognition he deserved, never made the money that he deserved to make. I heard a story today that I had never heard before, which was he was going to sign with WCW in 2000 after all these years of grinding on the indies and killing himself, and they were going to sign him to like $400,000 a year. And Heyman blocked the contract by saying he had an active contract with ECW that was probably written on like a napkin or something, that he was going to sue Sabu, and so Sabu didn't go. And then WCW went out of business. Who knows what would have happened? But like, all those things happened to Sabu that got in the way of him really getting the legend and the legacy that he deserved. But what I was going to talk about a little bit was he had a retirement match 3 weeks ago for GCW, which is Game Changer Wrestling, which are they do a lot of hardcore stuff. They have a lot of indie guys. They have guys that have been featured on AEW. They also book a lot of older ECW guys. Like earlier this year, they had Tajiri in one of their shows. But
dude, how's Tajiri doing?
He looks old, but he can still do the tarantula. He can do
doing the tarantula. All right.
He can do the upside down elbow in the corner, all that stuff.
Pull out the mist.
Pull out the mist. He could still play the hits. But this match, Sabu's retirement match, was a no rope barbed wire match against a guy named Joey Janela, who was on AEW TV very early on, and I don't think Sabu had wrestled in like 4 years. And a couple days ago, Janela put out an interview after Sabu died, or an interview came out that he had done after that match that came out after he had died, where basically they were like, we didn't think Sabu was going to make it to the show. They called us like an hour before the show and they're like, Sabu can't move. His feet are bleeding. He's not going to make it. And then Janela was like, I'm going to have to cancel this match, or I'm going to have to get a replacement, and the crowd is going to hate this and we're going to have to figure out what to do. And then he said that they were like, basically GCW was like, just get Sabu to the building and then we'll figure out what to do. And they said that Sabu took some kind of kratom, yeah, which is, I guess, is for like opiate addiction.
It's basically like it's a stimulant that people buy at gas stations.
Controversial herbal medicine, according to this article. So, yeah. And essentially that got Sabu out of bed, and like he could do the match. Now the controversy was that initially it sounded like he was saying Joey Janela was saying GCW gave this substance to Sabu and kind of like, I don't know, forced it on him or whatever. That's not the case. Apparently the guys in Sabu's team gave it to him, and this is a thing that Sabu's talked about taking before.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty big that people.
yeah, I think I heard randomly Joe Rogan talk about it the other day.
Yeah, him and I heard about it because before Rogan lost his mind, but before Rogan lost his mind and Brian Callen was canceled, they would have podcasts, and Callen was like hooked on Kratom at the time.
See, I don't watch the Joe Rogan show anymore, but I watch channels that react to the things that happen on his show and of put it in bite-sized chunks and like, oh man, here's this crazy thing that happened. Because I'm, and he was saying that he had a buddy who had been on it, and then he had a bunch of it laying around, and the guy was like, you got to get that out of here. I assume that he didn't name Brian Callen, but that sounds like maybe that's the guy.
Could have been him. I know Callen did too much Kratom. I know Schaub did too much Kratom. I know a lot of those guys were, so it could have been literally spit in the air if you're in a room of Joe Rogan guys, and you're going to hit somebody taking some fucking exotic supplement that they swear up and down is really good for them, but is really just ruining their blood. Like they might as well be huffing paint. But I don't think Kratom's that bad. But Kratom's not good for you.
Ground up rhino horn and all that.
Yeah.
So,
never mind.
Now the part of it that still looks bad for them, it is kind of damning, is where there's a spot. I don't know if you've seen it. You can see it on Twitter. Basically, there's a board leaned up against the barbed wire, and Janela throws Sabu towards that board, and Sabu puts his arms out to get the barbed wire to catch him, and the barbed wire doesn't catch, and he goes through the ropes and lands on the back of his head on the floor and like knocked himself out. And Janela's like, oh yeah, he was out cold, and they're telling me the match has got to end and all this. And then they did a bunch of bullshit like shenanigan run-ins, and then the Sandman came out, and I guess Sabu woke up when the Sandman's music hit, and they finished the match. And it's like, everybody's on him about the Kratom thing, and Janelle was defending that, and I'm like, what about the 60-year-old man who got a severe concussion and then continued to wrestle a death match, for however long? I haven't seen the match, so I don't know. But it's like, that part doesn't make you look good either.
There's another one where he just jumps into the barbed wire onto like a table of barbed wire head first.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's tough. So, and again, I don't think that this is necessarily contributing to Sabu's death, but it's like, it's just a bummer to see, because like, it's 60 years old. Sabu shouldn't have had to been doing death matches, for money.
They got to stop doing these like. Do a last match when the guy's 50, when the guy can move.
Yeah.
Like, let's stop doing this. Like Sabu's, what was he, 60?
He was 60 years old, yeah.
That's 97 years old in Sabu years. Like,
yeah,
be smart about this stuff. If he couldn't walk but that day, I know you sold tickets, but bro, like, I'm not saying it killed him either, but like what's it? Ric Flair said his heart stopped. What? Like, oh, I just saw the one where he fell. He definitely got knocked out. That's fucking awful.
What
did Ric Flair say? He had like 6 heart attacks in his final match.
Yeah, well, he had a pacemaker, and they're like, you can't wrestle with a pacemaker. And then he went and did it anyway. Said that I don't remember. He said he had a heart attack, maybe, or people thought that.
He said his heart. I think he said he had like 4 heart attacks during a match.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Which might mean he had one. He is Ric Flair,
Yeah.
But yeah, like
do it again.
Mick Foley was talking about coming out of retirement to do one more match to celebrate his 60th birthday or something. But he actually is somewhat intelligent in this regard, and like went to a neurologist, and the neurologist was like, absolutely fucking not, man. Like, what are you even doing?
And like, do it if you're gonna do it like the way WWE does old man matches. Like, it's not gonna be great. You guys fight into the crowd. You're throwing worked punches. Maybe somebody does a normal body slam, or you eat a DDT or something like that. You're not going through a fucking bar. I mean, that's how Sabu's gonna go out, though. It's not. If Sabu came back and had Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens that match, then people would have been lighting the chairs on fire. So
Yeah,
Um,
that's the same thing with Mick Foley. Like he also can't look at cameras when they flash
I know.
because it Men in Blacks his memory, which is terrible. Like I love Mick Foley, but it's like, dude, I don't need to see you do one more match. I need you to hopefully live a happy, satisfying life just being the legend. Like all you
You know
can
how many
do is
Christmases you're gonna miss if you die?
yeah, like it, and the same thing with Sabu. Like you said, it's a like it's an impossible standard that he has set because he's been an insane person, like uh you can't just go out there, and Sabu doesn't have any spots that are like things he can do that don't hurt, like that's not the style that he
Yeah,
innovated.
he's one of those guys. There's a few wrestlers that when you see them, you're like, oh, he must be in so much pain. Like not even when he's wrestling, just like
Yeah,
if you saw Sabu, what he looked like the couple years before he died, like you just see him and you're like, oh fuck, like he doesn't stand straight, like his
yeah,
fingers are weird and swollen and fat and like it's just like even the Foley, it's like that guy looks like he's gotten destroyed. He looks like he got thrown off the top of a cell and then
yeah,
through the cell in the
yeah,
same day, and then the Rock hit him 19 times in the forehead with chairs.
yeah. Yeah, so
Anyway,
I don't like that exploitation. Obviously, Sabu, you know, was able to make those decisions for himself, but like,
he's an adult, man.
yeah, I'm not thrilled about it, and it's weird to talk about it. But that's also wrestler pride, where it's like, oh man, he got knocked out, but he finished the match. It's like, no, that's bad. That's a
Yeah,
bad thing that happened to him. But unfortunately, R.I.P. to Sabu, like truly a legend.
yeah.
Um, to the degree that I think I've moved what we were gonna do next week, and I think we're just gonna do like if you're into it, just do a Sabu episode. Watch a few
Sure.
matches, look at a couple promos, see try to get the high spots of his career, um, and just kind of talk about it in general. But like, truly a legend, like the underground king of wrestling in the '90s.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's it for that. All the news and notes. So I'd like to go to the main event, as it were, Andrew.
Yeah, we'll miss you, Sabu, and until next week.
Yeah. Then we'll.
But yeah. The main event, Dusty just to put this into context, we're gonna do this. Dusty has a match of 101, a list of 101 matches everybody needs to see, and this is on the list. I'm picking a random number every week, and we ended up on this one. Last week we watched. What did we watch? Something bad. It was
Oh, 2 weeks ago was the Chamber of Horrors.
Chamber of Horrors. That was what it was, wasn't it?
Yep.
So this was a little better than that for sure.
Yeah, it certainly went above the Chamber of Horrors. So,
Yeah.
the quickest backstory I can give.
Oh, we didn't say what it was. Say what it was. Say what it is.
We were watching The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 26. This is the streak versus career match. To give the context, we have to go back to the last WrestleMania. At WrestleMania 25, The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels wrestled each other, and it's about as close to 5 stars as you could get. I don't think Meltzer gave it 5, but he's an asshole about that sort of thing. So, but it was perfect. It was two legends having a match. It was who's better. There wasn't a lot of stakes attached to it. It was just can they go out there and have a banger match, and it was an awesome match. So this came about because Shawn is thinking about retiring. He wants to go out with a big bang. So around Royal Rumble time, he's decided that he wants to wrestle The Undertaker, who was the champion at the time. So he's like, I got to win the Royal Rumble. Shawn loses the Royal Rumble. So now Undertaker's still the champion. So he can't get a match with The Undertaker unless, he does something drastic. So at the February pay-per-view, he costs The Undertaker the world title so that he can challenge The Undertaker. Undertaker doesn't
Who
want to
became the
wrestle.
champion?
I believe it was John Cena. Or no,
Oh yeah.
Batista. I think it's Batista.
Okay.
Or Chris Jericho. Because they're the champions on this show.
One of three.
So,
Okay.
Yeah,
watch.
I didn't do that
I'll
part of
find it. I'll find it.
yeah.
Sorry.
You threw me off. I didn't do that part of the
I'm
research. I
sorry,
believe
dude. I'm
it's
sorry. I'm sorry.
how dare you do this to me? I believe it's Chris Jericho. If I had to put money on it. So Shawn is like, I want to wrestle you, and the Undertaker's not interested because he's like, I already beat you, so what does it matter? And then Shawn says, well, I'll put my career up, the career versus the streak. So Shawn is obsessed with this idea of beating
Jericho.
the, yeah, that makes sense. I remember that now. Of beating the streak. So this is the build up to that match. Of course, the Undertaker streak has become the storyline at this point in his career for WrestleMania. Pretty good build. Like, I don't remember at the time if anybody really thought that Shawn was going to be the guy to beat the streak, because like it didn't really help Shawn Michaels to win at this point. Like, the streak was still, he was 17-0. So it's like, if you're going to have somebody beat him, it should be somebody who's going to get something out of it. And Shawn's at the tail end of his career anyway. So I don't know that anybody really thought that he was going to win it.
Some young buck that needed a boost.
Yeah. You got to give it to a guy on the rise. Maybe he's
a guy that doesn't need it. Guy that maybe needs to prove that he's a tough guy.
Yeah, and that might have just come back from the UFC and has finished his program with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
maybe
that's
maybe
definitely not. Yeah, it would be kind of weird though to just give it to a former UFC champion. But
yeah. So, but I don't think that like takes away from this match at all. And this is not a super great WrestleMania, as I recall. Like, it's kind of in a middling period for WWE. Like, Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk is on this show, which is pretty okay, but it's only like 6 minutes long. This is Bret Hart's official retirement match, but he can't actually do any real physicality. So it's him versus Vince McMahon, but essentially the Hart family come out and beat the shit out of Vince, which is pretty satisfying. And Bret puts him in the sharpshooter, but like, not like, again, that I want Bret Hart to get in there and take a bunch of bumps, but like, Bret Hart's in-ring career is almost untouchable, and so it's kind of sad to see him as an old man. Like, he's broken down and he can't take bumps. And so that was sort of the storyline reason. I remember Cena versus Batista being pretty decent, but like, this show's like mostly a big nothing. But it does have The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, which I know we haven't watched the WrestleMania 25 match. This match is pretty good. It's pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, the WrestleMania, where is this WrestleMania?
It is in Arizona at Glendale, I think. So
they're saying like 70-something thousand people in there. It looks cool in there.
It's the University of Phoenix Stadium, 72,000 people according to them. Buy rate was 885,000.
Okay, so and it was WrestleMania 30 that the streak got broken, right?
30 is when the streak gets broken, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, the match was cool. It was it started slow. You could tell these guys are old. They're both 45.
Oh, when this match happens? Okay.
Yeah, I looked it up. They're both 45. And Undertaker seems to get hurt like immediately. Was that a work?
I think it was a work. The knee, you mean?
Yeah, I assumed it was a work, but it was like Undertaker sold it like when it first happened. He made it look like a freak little weird thing that happened pretty well, and then, but I assume it was a work because they worked the whole match into it basically.
Yeah, it was a lot of like, I think Michael's psychology. Against the Undertaker, you have to break him down and that sort of thing. So I think that gave him an easy in to like do a lot of the leg work that he does in the match. They pull out a lot of maybe not a lot, but a few sort of Easter eggs. Like, there's a point in the match where Shawn goes to moonsault onto the Undertaker on the floor, and Undertaker catches him, which was the finish of the previous year's match.
Yeah,
and then Undertaker tombstones him on the floor, which is sick. But that's the finish. that's what led to the finish of the Jake the Snake Undertaker match from WrestleMania 8. So they call that the Snake Killer Tombstone. But that's like the only 2 times he's ever done it. You know,
So one on the floor.
Yeah, like that on the floor. He did it to Jake the Snake. And my only other time that I've ever seen him do it is in this match with Shawn Michaels.
You don't want to waste it, not on the hard camera.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool because this match, to be fair, did end up just being a finish fest. Like they just kept hitting their finishers on each other over, over, over.
Yeah.
Over. But it was cool. I thought it was good that they had that tombstone outside because it has to be pinfall or submission. How did that become a thing that he has to win by pinfall or submission?
Because the previous year he tried to win by countout. There's a spot in that match that I think you might have seen where Undertaker goes to jump over the top rope and do a dive, which was like a signature move he pulled out for big matches. But the guy that was supposed to catch him, it was a wrestler dressed as a cameraman, was too far, and the Undertaker came up short and essentially spiked himself on his head. And everybody was like, "Is the Undertaker dead?" Or like, for real, what happened? And they continue the match, but Shawn is trying to get the count out win. At WrestleMania 25, he's like encouraging the referee to count the Undertaker out after that spot. So I think it was like no bullshit finishes. Like, if you're going to try to beat me, you have to actually beat me in the ring.
And that helped with stuff, doing stuff outside the ring, because you could leave somebody just dead for a little bit, and the match wasn't going to end. One of my notes is I love that the Undertaker is an undead mystical zombie whose main method of attack is just straightforward American boxing.
Yeah, well, he's studied for a long time. He saw Jack Johnson. You know, who knows how long he's been dead.
That is true. He's probably on like Irish boats back in the day, like
Queensberry rules. He was.
There's nothing like. Even necromancy can't beat the sweet science, you know?
Yeah. Well, you got to know what your angles are, you know?
Yeah.
That's, they work in a go-go plata, which, the Hell's Gate, the Undertaker's move, which is a sick submission in real MMA that you almost never see because it's impossible to get someone in that position.
Like one time.
But, that was my favorite one to do in the UFC games. I like to put people in go-go platas.
I mean, it looks sick.
Yeah. And it's a good finish for as a wrestler because you can work it. But it's funny that he did eventually just become like kind of MMA bro Undertaker.
It's just like you're this undead guy. He should have some like staff that like inflicts you with the fear and coldness of death. But it's like, no, dude, I got to work my jab. I got to keep my distance, work my footwork, try to get the foot on the outside.
My leg is hurt. I got to switch stances. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, he used to do early Undertaker, just a lot of choking dudes in the corner. Like his match style used to be so boring. So I'm glad. That he's evolved his game.
He throws a really good worked right hand. He doesn't like some of these gymnast guys nowadays, and I've talked shit on AJ Styles a lot. AJ Styles throws the most effeminate punches you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
They're half slaps, and everybody's like, "Oh man, he's the best wrestler alive." Why? Because he can do a flip and a half.
that back fist is tough. It's never not going to be tough.
Yeah, it's really bad. And even CM Punk doesn't throw good punches, and he fought in the goddamn UFC. So the Undertaker, like, he's got to go to a straight right hand, kind of right hooky every once in a while. His uppercut looks pretty good. Like it's obviously a work. It's obviously like trying to look cool uppercut, but he throws an uppercut. His jab's fine. Like, he actually looks like he can throw some. He's like, it looks like he's trained a little bit. Like, he actually cared to go figure out how to throw a proper freaking punch when he's fake punching people for money, you know?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Stanislaus Sbyszko would be proud, you know?
Would be very proud of the Undertaker. He probably wouldn't like the walking on the ropes, though, as we talk about, as we've discussed. Walking on the ropes is bullshit. Just pull him down. All you got to do, he's going to walk on the ropes and jump off and try to hurt your arm. As soon as he gets up on those ropes, you just fucking dead baby him, and you just pull him right the fuck down, and maybe he hurts his foot, you know?
Well, that's also like when Shawn Michaels
watch him walk on the rope.
when Shawn Michaels is stomping his foot in the corner for the Sweet Chin music, like
you hear the foot stomps.
yeah, like professional football coaches watch tape of the other guys for tells. You've never been watching the Shawn Michaels match, like, oh, here comes the stomp. I better watch out for that kick.
Oh man, I just heard Roman Reigns yell, "Hoo!"
Like he's Pacino instead of a woman.
I better, yeah. It's like slow Pacino.
Yeah,
I better turn around with my hands down.
Yeah, he's
real slow and not defensive at all.
I know that I've been legitimately fighting this man for several minutes, but I'm now very confused. Yeah, I just like you said, the matches, there's a lot of finishers early. I think they were like, look, we're going on last. Everybody knows where this is going. Like, we can work the leg a little bit, we can give them a little bit of something, but like, they want the big moves.
Yeah, I wrote down slow, choke slam.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of this match.
I thought, like, again, Shawn Michaels such a pro. Some of the Sweet Chin musics were like out of pretty cool counters, like whenever Undertaker picks him up and he breaks it and then super kicks him. Like, that's not the finish, but that's a cool way to work it into the match.
And when Shawn slammed Undertaker's head down out of the what is the
the last ride?
The last ride, there it is.
Yeah.
And even the announcers were like confused as to what had just happened, and then they showed in the replay, you could see what he did. It wasn't the cleanest thing in the world, but I don't think it all has to be. I think there's a fight, not everything's gonna look perfect, and it looked like he slammed Undertaker's head right in the fucking floor. Who was bleeding? Because it looked like they were both bleeding from the wrist.
Yeah, I wonder if somebody's blade got.
That's what I was thinking. Because neither of them started bleeding on the forehead, but one of them had because they both had blood right on their wrist.
I wonder if it's maybe it came loose and cut somebody, and then they couldn't find the blade.
Yeah, Ixnay on the aid blade, bro.
Yeah. Why do you know kayfabe, dude? The end of this match does get into a criticism of Shawn Michaels a little bit. Shawn Michaels, my opinion, greatest wrestler in ring in history. Like, he has a great body of work. Brett's pretty close.
Better than Spike Dudley.
Only marginally. Just more people have seen his work, Yeah.
All right.
But
I trust you.
Like, the end of this match and a lot of Shawn's matches when he came back out of retirement have this sort of soap opera melodrama element towards the end. There's the I love you, I'm sorry with Ric Flair, which was awesome, but it's trying
timeless.
But
now.
The Undertaker hits the tombstone, Shawn kicks out. The Undertaker's telling him to stay down now because suddenly he cares about this man who he's attempted to kill for 20
He's currently ending his career.
Yeah, that's like for some 20 odd minutes he's been beating the dog shit out of, and he's like, "Come on, man!" And so Shawn
onto his head, like what is known as a
you tombstoned him on the floor, dude.
Yeah.
You tombstoned him on the floor. That's not even in the ring. There's concrete down there.
That move was
so.
outlawed.
Only thing you could do that would be worse is if you. Only thing you could do worse is if you tombstoned him on the edge of the ring, hardest part of the ring.
Hardest part of the ring is what I hear.
So, yeah. So the Undertaker, like, Shawn's like crawling up him, and then he does the throat slash, and for some reason, wait, is it throat slash or does he hit him with the crotch chop?
He does the throat slash.
Yeah, and for some reason that infuriates the Undertaker. Don't you do my pose?
He throat slashes and then slaps him in the face.
Oh, right. And
the Undertaker's like, God damn it! Why'd I stand here and watch you crawl up me? You crawled up him like a cat, like your cat is being annoying and tries to crawl up your pants. The Undertaker starts to do his throat slash, standing over Shawn, and he just looks annoyed. He's like, this motherfucker is still moving. And then Sean's like, slowly. It's like it is the Monty Python. It's only a flesh wound guy. He's like, nah. Or like Randy Marsh. I didn't hear no bell. He's like crawling up. He's like, no, fuck you, bitch. Throat slash, slap, and then Taker's like, all right, dude, grabs him upside down and tombstones his ass again.
It's like I was holding back a little bit, and so then Undertaker like picks him up, like Andrew said, and gives him the jumping tombstone to really fuck his friend up, like beyond repair.
I'm gonna fucking jump on this one.
Yeah, and that's enough for the pin. This match went 24 minutes, I believe, as the main event. 24 minutes exactly. Like I said,
you know what was longer?
What's that?
Cena versus Orton at WWE Backlash.
Yeah. And they didn't even have a throat slash.
There wasn't even a fucking a streak or a career stipulation.
Yeah. Again, like I said, like pretty good in my estimation. I don't think it's as good as the WrestleMania 25 match. I think that was really tough to live up to. I don't think that the promotion, the streak versus career, was really helping it. It kind of handicapped it in a certain way. And it was good. I think the 25 match is better, but this was Shawn Michaels' retirement match, so it needed to be on the list. We've been ranking the matches out of 10, so I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. Still really solid, still really good work in there, but not the best.
I'm going if it depends on how we're comparing this. If we're comparing this to every wrestling match that's ever been had, it's definitely like at least an 8 out of 10, right?
Sure.
In terms of what I expect from Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, I'd say it's like a 7.5 out of 10. You know, it's like, It was completely serviceable. There was a lot of, there were cool moments. There was Shawn after like you talked about the soap opera stuff. Shawn Michaels had to on his way out. He's like saying bye to fans, and he takes one more look at the ring and he goes like, this is just such a like a cowboy ass like Texas guy in a movie type thing to do. He looks back at the ring and the camera's right there and he goes, I'll drive my kids nuts in 3 weeks, and then he keeps walking.
Yeah,
just right off into the sunset. But they were good. There were cool moments. The moonsault onto his leg onto the table was cool.
Oh yeah, I forgot about fuck.
Yeah.
God
damn it, my knee already hurt, Sean.
Don't you remember the last or the walk on the ropes part?
Yeah,
where I injured it. Yeah.
God damn it, you don't have to wrestle on Monday. I thought he missed at first, and then I remembered that they're working the leg, and I was like, oh shit, okay, that's kind of cool. Undertaker almost fucked it up. He was real scared to have Shawn Michaels land on his leg.
I don't know. Look, I don't know if that's exact. Yeah, like it might have worked for the story, but like you don't want to do jumping on your legs where if he lands on your leg's not going to bend.
Yeah.
You know, like your knee's going to go the other way.
Snap like the Titanic.
Yeah, which I don't know if you've heard is not the way it goes. So
yeah, you're not. He goes for that's the day that he was stopped. He wasn't the Undertaker. He was known as the Black Flamingo.
Yeah,
it's because his legs. Imagine the Undertaker just walking to the ring with his legs bending the wrong way.
That's
the rest of his career.
That's a what I'm supposed to do about my legs, Charlie Murphy moment.
Yeah.
If you fuck
son
that
of
up.
a bitch, you were the one that was retiring, you asshole.
You could always
I didn't save my money, you fucking dick.
Yeah. What am I supposed to do about my legs, Shawn Michaels?
I can't even ride my motorcycle like this. I gotta get it retro. I gotta get it custom made for my new broken ass leg.
Which knee injury would be worse? The Randy Savage off the top of the cage or Undertaker's legs bent back?
I don't know, dude. Randy Savage jumped from the rafters. He was up there with Jerry. Oh, buddy.
Oh, brother.
Oh, brother. I really thought I was going to help you, Hulkster. No.
Yeah.
Was he trying to hurt Hulk?
No, he was trying to hurt Rowdy Piper.
Because he hits Hulk.
Yeah, he
with that
might have
fucking
been for
axe
real
handle.
trying to. Yeah, he might have been actually trying to hurt Hulk. You know, under the guise of helping.
This was
him.
your idea, Terry, you asshole.
I wonder how many feet down he realized it was a terrible idea. You know what I mean? Like he jumps
It
and
was
he's like,
probably, honestly, after he had committed, but before his feet left the fucking cage.
Well, because he can't climb over the other side a little bit and then jump from lower, right? That's worse.
You can just see him go, oh shit, as soon as he jumps.
Yeah,
oh shit.
These knees don't got the spring in them they used to.
We got to talk about that on the show just so people know exactly what we're talking about. But
and you can tell Undertaker goes to tense up to take this moonsault, and then Shawn doesn't hit an inch of his upper body. Like it's all knees.
No, it's straight on the legs. And Undertaker, it was a great shot when they switch camera angles and Undertaker's laying on his back and you see him grabbing his knee with one leg with one hand and just slamming his hand on the ground over and over and over again, like, you son of a fucking bitch, dude.
That's the before Randy
Call
Orton
Dr.
hit.
James Andrews.
Everything's gone. Every tendon I got is gone.
Tell him to cancel all his appointments for 2 weeks.
So what do you give? I have you down for 7.5. Is that a fair assessment?
I'm gonna go 7.75.
Okay.
Switch me to 7.75.
Because I'm gonna look
quarters.
At.
Quarters.
I'm gonna look at this later. Well, last time you went in fifths because you gave the Chamber of Horrors 2.2.
Listen, bro. I fly by the seat of my pants. Dog.
Yeah, I do different things. So hold on, I didn't look up, unfortunately, the star rating that Meltzer gave it.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Well, and that used to be Shawn's move. Really, was like he would use something with the moonsault. He'd either miss it or he'd hit it through a table or something as a way to like really allow his opponent to take over. You know,
I've got it here.
Okay.
4.75.
Okay. I mean,
he gave it a pretty high marks. He probably, I mean, that's historical context. That was a historic match, and it gave us our moments. It was effective for what it needed to be. I did note that Shawn didn't bump his ass off like he normally did in these matches, but he did have like one pretty epic bump over the ropes. Like I think Undertaker clotheslined him over the ropes towards the camera, and he fell pretty good. That classic, just Shawn Michaels just falling however he falls and being fine. It's kind of like Ric Flair, but like an athletic, like a way more athletic Ric Flair, you know?
I mean, it's Shawn's great, and this would have been great as his retirement match. Unfortunately, he came back to take Blood Money, where him and Triple H wrestled The Undertaker and Kane in one of the worst matches in history at one of the Crown Jewel events. Just
we should watch that one of these
days. Complete disaster. Triple H tears his tears his pec during this match. Shawn Michaels is bald. Kane loses his mask in the match. Like, it's awful. So you know, it does continue the legacy of no wrestler knowing when exactly to retire. It's funny, you know, Shawn could have went out on this one, but there's one more.
I was thinking, I was like, man, I do think he didn't like, he came out during Triple H versus Sting because DX came out.
Yeah,
that was the only time I could think of that he like came out and did something, you know?
He was a special guest referee for one of the Triple H Undertaker WrestleMania matches after this. He's done a couple of other things, but he never had another official match till that Saudi Arabia match.
Dude, they can get anything they want, man.
Yep,
if they called me, I talk a lot of shit.
Yeah.
If they called me and offered me a bag, I'm riding a camel next Tuesday. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So, wish I could remember it for the way it was, but that's not how it goes. So, all right, that's it for this week. Thank you to everybody who listens. We appreciate it. Like Andrew said, hit the bell. You can follow our Wrestling Blue Sky. If you want to see some other opinions that I might have, please like and follow, or please follow me so that it's not just weird bots that are following me. It's huh?
Go ahead.
WOE Wrestling at Blue Sky Social. Help me get those numbers up so that it's not just crazy bots like Melissa. Smile is the second best thing you can do.
Oh, I wonder what the first thing is, huh?
Yep. Just followed me. That's unfortunate. So
yeah, listen. Bots pump up the numbers. We want real ones, but bots also pump up the numbers. You know what I mean?
If we're trying to sell this thing, that'll help us out.
We are eventually trying to sell this to Saudi Arabia. So
I'll go wrestle the Brothers of Destruction. If that's what it takes. No, this is a no blood money podcast, Andrew. You know that.
It certainly is.
It's a regular money podcast.
It's so easy to say that when it's not being offered, but yeah, totally.
Yeah, right. We're about the integrity here. That's why we need you to hit the button and subscribe.
God damn it.
Yeah, because that's what it is.
Shit.
Oh, God. All right. Thank you again to everybody who listens. We appreciate you. We'll be back next week. We're covering Sabu here on Wrestling Over Everything.
Hell yeah, dude.